Hey guys, it's me. I'm back. It's a beautiful Monday. I'm taking this opportunity to sit outside and make a video. I'm trying to soak up the sun, put my bare feet in the grass, and make my presence known at this residence. I used to only use the backyard, but today I'm sitting front and center in the front yard, and I know my uncle's girlfriend is watching me. All of her blinds are open. She works from home, so also my uncle is peering out every door and window at all hours. He was up at 6 a.m. looking out the front door because his bedroom faces the backyard, so he has to get up and fully come downstairs to look out front. These are indications that things are about to happen because he's very on edge and very withdrawn. I can feel the shame and guilt and embarrassment coming off of him. This is not my energy, but I'm very much picking up on his energy. So I'm not trying to be hidden anymore. As much as I don't like a lot of attention, I feel like it's going to be inevitable at this point because of the magnitude of this. It's very much going to be a community-wide scandal being exposed, and I better get used to the attention whether I like it or not, right? So bring it on. I'm reading the last lecture. I had this book a long time ago, but I turned it back in for something else. But I would recommend this book to you guys. It's very, very interesting. This man, Randy Pausch, I think that's how you pronounce his last name. He was a professor at Carnegie Mellon, and he found out that he had pancreatic cancer and only had a few months to live. So he was invited to give a last lecture at his school as a goodbye to his colleagues and his students, and he did it on achieving your childhood dreams. And I think that this is a great way to fulfill yourself in life, is the things that you dreamt of as a child, making those things come true. And a lot of those doors were closed to him in the beginning, but he has a message saying that you have to knock down the brick wall. So there's always going to be walls around you, people telling you no, but you have to knock down those brick walls. And sometimes you have to be really creative in the way that you approach knocking them down, because it won't always be conventional, not as simple as calling someone or asking someone, because a lot of people around you or people in power will be happy to tell you no just because they can and they're in the position to. So always think outside of the box and try to find a way around those boundaries and knock those brick walls down so that you can achieve those dreams, no matter how big or small that they are, because they count, right? God doesn't give us dreams for nothing. So always work towards your dreams, and it will help you feel more accomplished and carry out, your life's purpose within that. So yeah, everyone pick up the last lecture. It's not long, but it has some great positive messages in there, even from a man who knew he wasn't going to be around very long. So yeah, also, as far as the narcissistic abuse goes, I sent my son's father a message before they left on their trip, and I found out just hours before they were about to go to DC that they were also going to stay in West Virginia and spend the night with someone who I still don't know who that was. I figured it would be a girl because he's very much a sex addict, which I found out after we broke up, which is unfortunate. But they stayed with someone in West Virginia who used to live here in Chattanooga. At least that's what my son said, and I didn't ask her name. I'm not trying to be nosy like that. I knew it would be a girl, so there's really no point in me knowing any specifics about her because I'm not jealous. It doesn't bother me it was very much how he rolls, but he got very, very upset at my son at bedtime the night before that they left, and made my son not even want to go because he was trying to make him feel, one, guilty about missing me because we're very close and we've spent pretty much, I would say, 80% of our time together recently. So he was trying to tell him that he had an attitude and that he said he hated his life, which was not true. And my son is so strong. I am so glad that I have taught him lessons on how to handle a narcissist early in age, because he stands back up to his dad, and sometimes a little too much, because I worry that his dad's going to put his hands on him and try to shut him up that way. But he told him that he doesn't like coming back to his house because every time he does, it's an argument. And that is true. He tries to start arguments with him to put him in his place and let him know that he is not only the boss, but he tells him that he owns him, which is very much a trigger for my son, because he is sovereign. Even as young as he is at 10, he is a sovereign little young man, and he embraces his power, stands in his power even at a young age. So he argues back and tells him that you do not own me, I own myself. You are my father and you do have responsibility as far as I'm concerned, but you do not own me. So I love that he does that, and he's learning to know his limits and how far to go. He's calling me right now. I'll call him back. He must know that I'm talking about him. His dad keeps trying to send me pictures and I'm not responding. Even though I love those pictures, I'm not giving him any energy right now, especially because of the way that he treated our son before they left. But anyway, he lashed out at him because of the message that I sent saying, you didn't tell me you were going to West Virginia. He didn't want me to know that they were making the pit stop, and he knew that I would figure out that it was a girl, and that pit stop was very much for him. And whoever this girl is, I'm praying for you, because I know that there was sexual energy exchanged, and I really want her to use discernment if he does approach you again, because he's just using everyone. He's the user, he's the energy vampire, and you need to cut that cord, sweetheart. But it seems like they're having a good time now. But instead of responding to me over the message that I sent, he lashed out at my son because he didn't want me to know, and had my son in just tears, screaming. And I know that my ex-husband's mother lives in the other side of the duplex from them, and I asked her, did you hear him screaming at our son the night before around 11 o'clock? And she said, yes, I did, but still she doesn't do anything about it. When CPS came to visit him and he wasn't home, she full on just up and left because she didn't want to talk to them. She didn't want to stand up in any way and speak the truth, even though she knows what the situation is and that I'm a great mother and I'm always there for our son, and she sees how her son acts, but she doesn't stand up and do anything about it. She would rather run and still protect him inadvertently. And if you're watching, I would urge you to start doing the right thing, because this man is going to jail and you're only going to look bad for protecting him in the end. So just be mindful when you have been with a narcissist and you do have children by them, that they will attack the children. They will try to first manipulate the child and make them think they are the greatest thing on earth and that they should be idolized. And if this doesn't work, as in with my son, then they will start attacking them and try to make them back down that way, either by telling them that they own them and that it's their way or the highway. They'll love bomb them. They will straight up attack them for things that you do to stand up for yourself against them. because they know that hurting the child is going to hurt you, and they don't care if they hurt the child. They are only focused on getting you back, and they know the best way to do that when you're not affected is through the child. And that's very unfortunate, because he is going to need a lot of therapy after this. My ex's mom even asked me if I had thought about getting him therapy, and I said yes. As soon as this is over, he will be in therapy, because I want him to be able to talk all of these things out. And I can't stand that he is having to be put through this because of someone else's battle. He has nothing to do with this, but yet he has to feel the brunt of it because he knows that's the best way to affect me. And he's calling me a child as he rants and raves at our child, making him get off the phone with me. Sometimes he'll take the phone away from him. He's threatened numerous times, and even tried now with the CPS lies and report that, to take him away. And even does that to his mother. If she talks back to him, then it's, you're never going to see him again. So they use children as a tool, like 100% of the time, if you have blocked them and you are not giving them the pitiful response that they are trying to incite from you. So I'm sending love and light to my baby. I know that he is going through a lot, has already been through a lot, and I really want it to end for him. I want it to end for all of us, but I really want it to end for him, because I can take it, but he doesn't understand why he's being attacked, and he shouldn't be attacked, period, whatsoever. What else for today? Oh, fires. Fires have been everywhere, and yes, it has been a dry season. We haven't had much rain here in Chattanooga, so that definitely creates a conducive environment for fires, but specifically fires in the Middle Valley area where I live, and Red Bank, which is about 10 minutes away, and I have grown up in that community, so I know a lot of people over there. There's been fires, house fires, everywhere. There's some brush fires on Lookout Mountain, and I can understand that. But these house fires, I feel, are being set intentionally, and I definitely had a revealing dream about this being intentional. So I urge people to investigate the fires and the nature of their causes, because it's getting a little uncanny now and a little out of control. I feel like it's retaliation to some people in the community for not playing their part. I feel like things are not going in the direction, well, I know things are not going in the direction that this plan was meant to be carried out. So a lot of people are being retaliated against, other than just me. This is a lot bigger than me. This has happened to a lot of other people, and they've been terrorized because of the group that's doing this. They have a reach. There's a lot of officials involved, so they think they're untouchable at this point, and they're going to take things into their own hands and play God in other people's lives, especially now that things aren't going in their favor. I don't feel like my uncle's just taking a week of vacation. It feels like he has been fired or dismissed, and that's unfortunate, but that's how the tables turn when you try to play God in other people's lives. Eventually your karma is going to come back to you. You're not going to be able to live your whole life untouchable. You just keep adding up that karma, and it's going to come back to bite you regardless of how you try to make it right. In the end, what's done is done, and you have a karmic debt to pay, as I've had karmic debts to pay. I've made lots of mistakes, and trust me, my karma, thankfully, came back immediately for most of the things that I've done, because I don't keep building it up, and hopefully I've set myself on the right track. Well, I know I have, and God sees that. So most of my karma has come back immediately, and I've been able to deal with it swiftly and clear that for myself and correct myself. But when people have lived their whole lives like this, they just keep adding it up and adding it up, and if they think that it's never going to come back on them, it just encourages them to keep going, and so they keep doing it to people. I had a dream not too long ago about a lot of people coming to my house and sitting in the garage, and one of them was Danny Pye, who I've mentioned in a previous video, and we were all sitting around waiting for my uncle, and he was sitting there looking ashamed and his head down and very embarrassed, sort of the way that he's acting now. But he knew in that dream that he was going to have to answer to all of us for what he did, and he didn't want to do that, but it looked like he was being made to do that. And there's a whole lot of people that have been done wrong, and he's gotten away with it, but it's reckoning time. It's atonement for his sins time. And I feel bad for those people, whether they're still around or not. I've always felt like the people's lawyer. Like, whether it was my battle to fight or not, I was always willing to speak up for other people that were going through injustices, because I wanted it to end for them. I wanted them to be able to live their best life and not be held down by people that think they're powerful, people that have gotten away with things and think that it's never going to come back to them. I don't want people to suffer. I want them to speak up. I want them to have power. I want other people to help them, because they deserve it. These are not people that were deserving of the things that have been done to them. Even if they did make mistakes in their life, it should not have been capitalized upon for someone else's gain, or for someone else to build themselves up off of that without actually doing any of the work on themselves. Whenever I've called my uncle out in the past, as far as dating married women, or trying to, call the police on me when I had borrowed my son's gun to protect myself because it was in his name, he accused me of pawning the gun and said that he was going to call the police immediately. And I had not pawned the gun. I had given it to my boss to put in his safe at work, and he eventually made me get it back from my boss and give it to him, which is fine. Whenever my son became of age to have this gun in his possession, he told my uncle that he didn't want it anymore. And I was really proud of him for that, because it had always been an instrument of power for him that he had this gun. And he purchased it, even though it was with my son's money. He always kind of held it over our heads that it was in his name, and my son was like, I don't want it. And even accused me of, when I brought it back to him, that it wasn't the same gun. And I was like, check the serial numbers. I know you keep everything, so check the serial numbers. It's the same gun. I didn't pawn it. I didn't buy another gun to replace it. I was not dishonest about it at all. It was simply for my protection. And my ex-husband, the reason I gave it to someone to hold was because he tried to accuse me of letting my child, who was 3 years old at the time, play with it. I had put it on the back of the couch to go to the grocery store, and my son wasn't home. He had already been picked up by his grandmother to spend the night, so I thought the gun would be okay at home, and I didn't want to carry it to the grocery store, so I put it on the back of the couch, and he took the gun, and then he left for the night, and he waited until I went to work the next day, and he brought it back, and he put it in a SpongeBob bucket in our toddler's room and took pictures of it, and then brought it to my oldest son and showed him, look where I found the gun. And my oldest son knew that that wasn't true, because he was home when I was looking for the gun, and we tore the house apart to look for this. And we even searched, even though we knew it probably couldn't or wouldn't be in my youngest son's room, we even tore that room apart. So there's no way. He wasn't even home to play with this gun. I would not left it out if he was, but there was no way that it was in the SpongeBob bucket, or that my son had played with it. But that's what he tried to accuse me of. He even went as far as when I was still smoking weed, and I went to the basement to do it, and told him to watch our youngest son. He had me served with divorce papers on that day, and he told the civil servant to go around the side of the yard and to enter the basement where I was. And while he told the person to go around there, he quickly ran my son downstairs and threw him in the basement with me, hoping that the civil servant would catch me smoking around our toddler, which is not something that I would ever do, but he wanted it to be recorded that that was happening by this civil servant. And it was a Saturday, by the way, and there was no path around to the garage. He made him walk through the yard and around the house, so it was completely planned. And the only reason that I knew that this was happening, I didn't think he could be served on a Saturday, but the only reason I knew this was happening was because our dog at the time barked ferociously at any visitor. So I was alerted from downstairs that there was someone at the door, and I was quickly able to run our son back upstairs before this man, who was kind of heavy, took him a while to make it around to the basement, but I quickly got our son back upstairs before I realized everything that was happening, before the civil servant came around the side of the house to serve me with my divorce papers. So these are the tactics. These are the links, and they've even gone to further lengths in this situation, but these are the things that they will do to make themselves look good, and they will always play the victim. Always play the victim when they get called out, or whenever someone questions their motives. It's always quickly turned around into playing the victim. I feel really sorry for these people, because what kind of life is that? What kind of life is that to live? You are not happy. You're not happy looking out the window every 2 seconds. You're not happy checking the blinds. You're not happy playing the victim. I mean, if you are, that's really sad. That's really, really sad. You could be out fulfilling your dreams. You could be out doing lots of things with that energy, but you spend it trying to put other people down and play the victim. That's really sad to me. I'm seeing lots of yellow butterflies, and I love it. I love it. They remind me of my grandmother. Even when I was baking the other day, they were flying by the window, almost trying to get my attention. And of course, yellow's bright, so it's going to. And yellow was her favorite color, by the way. So I find that very comforting, and I love seeing the yellow butterflies when just flew by me. They're everywhere. But anyway, be aware of the narcissistic abuse and how it's going to affect your children. I would never regret having a child with this man, because I love my child, but he's been caught up in the crossfire of something that he doesn't deserve. I feel like the timing of this trip and all the checks out the windows and the health crisis, it's all about to come to a head, and I'm at peace, but I'm also anxious and excited, because I know that I'm about to be free from this, and hopefully I've made enough videos and I've stood up for myself enough for people to know that I am here. Don't be turned away by anyone that you meet at the door, especially if you see my black car in the driveway. I am here. I'm not hiding. They're trying to hide me. I'm not the person that they say I am, and no one should send mail to me here unless it's something that I need to sign for. And don't listen if they tell you that I don't live here or that I'm not here, because I'm very much here. Yeah, the fires, investigate the fires. Someone named Deandra is involved. She has spoken to me in my dreams. Very, very pretty brunette lady with straight hair. She bounced up the stairs in the dream where my uncle was going to confront the things that he had done to all these people in the dream. And I asked her who she was in the dream, and she said, "I'm Deandra." And I don't know a Deandra, but she had a bag and went straight to my uncle's room like she had been there before, and she had spent the night, and that's where she was going to stay that day. And I'm so anxious to find out who Deandra is, and if that's a positive hit on anything. So people, if you've been involved with this group, be very aware of your surroundings. You know, God is going to watch your back, but you still need to be aware of what's happening in front of your face, and use discernment, especially with these house fires, because I definitely feel like it's intentional. That's all I have for today. I hope everyone is doing well. I know I'm doing great. I love you. God loves you, and you are never ever alone. I'll talk to you later. Bye.